If you'd like to make your NFL games a little more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast, presented, of course, by DraftKings Sportsbook. We love the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. You know that. Check me out on social at Ross Tucker NFL. Check out all of our shows at Ross Tucker Pod or YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Love those of you that subscribe to the YouTube page. Check out the video portion of it, or just check us out on social media so you can see the highlight clips of all the other shows. College Draft, where we pick the college games against the spread. Of course, the Fantasy Feast podcast. A lot of fun DFS contests coming up week 18 in the playoffs. And, of course, Andrew Brandt's Business of Sports and the daily Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Star of this show is Steve Fezzik, and he is showing why each and every week this season. I think maybe he'll end up having his best season that he's ever had as part of the Even Money Podcast. That has unfortunately not been the case for me. He is, of course, Steve Fezzik at Fezzik Sports, the only 2-time winner of the Super Bowl of professional football gambling. Steve, a lot to get to. Let's be honest. Getting a raw deal on some of these late week adjustments for COVID, adjustments for injury. There's a lot of value in us doing the show on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. But last week, man, Washington loses Antonio Gibson and Flowers late in the week. The line went from 3.5 to a lot more than that. I lose by half a point. Certainly, the Detroit Lions, somehow we find out later in the week, Jared Goff hurt his knee while on the COVID list. He doesn't play. That killed my Lions bet. And then the Vikings lose Kirk Cousins before that game. So killed my Vikings bet. So I think you talked about this last week. It's just it's kind of a dangerous time to put bets in early.
Yeah. And, in terms of trading on Wall Street, day traders talk about volatility. They love volatility. The worst case is a stock that's like trades at 12, then 11.5. Then 12.25 never moves. Frankly, I would love nothing more than there be nonstop information coming out and lines pinball all over the place. We've seen a lot of Cleveland Brown games in particular that's been the case with, and I love that.
Right, that makes sense. Obviously, Week 18 is very unique. It'll be the first Week 18. We'll dive into that momentarily. First, let's look at last week, Steve. For the week, I was down 1 unit. You were up 5 units, which for the year puts you up 53 units. I am down 2 units. And how about our best bets? We were 2-1 last week, which puts us for the year at 32 wins, 17 losses, and 1 push. 64% strike rate on our best bets. It started with the Eagles and Washington. I already referenced it. Had the Washington football team getting 3.5. They were up 16-7 at halftime. Certainly losing Gibson and Flowers hurt a bunch. That was a bummer. Rams, Ravens. I leaned to the Ravens. You had nothing there. That was a cover. Bucks, Jets. I lean to the Jets. That was a cover. Both those I should have actually taken and not just had to lean. You didn't have anything there. Then we get to Raiders, Colts. Right before we started recording, we had the Carson Wentz news. Talk about a wild day, Steve. When we were recording last week, you talked about Wentz not being vaccinated. By the end of the day, the CDC changed their rules and Wentz was able to play in the game.
Yeah, the Wentz rule. And let's face it, be careful out there. Protect yourself and your loved ones. These case counts are exploding, And I give the NFL credit. They went ahead and they revised the rules, and the NFL has always been good at revising all sorts of rules that make the most sense. And I think that this was a good change that they made to make players be more available and not have it be so onerous, the rules about players that are testing positive.
Chiefs, Bengals, you and I both liked the Bengals getting 5. It was a best bet for 2 units. They won outright. How about the Cincinnati Bengals? Awesome best bet for you and I. Falcons, Bills, another 2-unit bet for me that came through. How about that one, Steve? The line was 14.5 on Tuesday. I got them at 14.5. The final score, 29-15. Great example of how much getting the better of the number matters.
Yeah, for those who've been listening for years know I'm not just shouting at the rain in terms of getting the very best number. Nobody wins who doesn't have several outs to be able to shop. No one, Ross. It is mandatory if you're serious about winning at sports betting.
Jags, Patriots. We both leaned Jags. They got smashed. Dolphins, Titans. I had 2 bets on the game. I had the Dolphins getting 3. They got destroyed. You and I both had the under 41, which thankfully the Dolphins couldn't score at all. So that came through for us. 2 units on the under. It was a best bet. That cash for us. Giants, Bears. I leaned Bears. That came through. Texans, Niners. The only best bet we lost, we were 3-1 on the week. We had the Texans getting 13 points. They're up 7-0. I think I want to say it was, let me get this right, 7-6, maybe? 7-6, I believe, in the fourth quarter. With maybe like 10 minutes left, the Texans were still winning. Davis Mills throws a pick. The Texans rip the ball out from the Niners defender. They say his forward progress was stopped. An all-time horse crap call. Now listen, the Niners were going to win the game anyway, but that was the difference. We would have covered the spread. Then they throw a bomb to Debo Samuel. That one hurt, Steve. I'm not going to lie. We were on the right side there.
And I unloaded on plus 14 right before that game kicked off and doubled down on my bet. So that one hurt my feelings and my wallet.
Brutal. Cowboys, Cardinals. We both leaned Cowboys. That was not good. They lost outright. Lions, Seahawks. Just extremely unfortunate. Now, I don't know if they would have covered even with Jared Goff, but I obviously wouldn't have bet it last Tuesday, 2 units, if I thought it'd be Tim Boyle. Panthers, Saints, I leaned Saints. They were able to cover. Vikings, Packers. I loved the Vikings getting 6.5. Kirk Cousins, test positive. Thursday or Friday. Can't play in the game. Killer. Absolutely killer. And then how about our 3-unit bet, Steve? Steelers getting 3.5. You want to talk about getting the better of the line. I think it finished. What did it close at? Do you know?
It closed at pick. Wild ride. So Pittsburgh's catching 3.5 all week. Boom. Kansas City, they lose to the Bengals. That changes the motivation for Cleveland. They're eliminated from the playoffs. It swings all the way to Pittsburgh -3. And then in comes the buyback. People betting the Browns +3. Closes at pick'em.
Wow. Well, you and I put 3 units on it. I'm glad I was with you on umping up from 2 to 3. That helped. Again, for the week, I was down 1 unit. Steve was up 5. For the year, I'm down 2 units. Steve is up 53 units. Best bets, we were 3-1. For the year, we are 32, 17, and 1 with those best bets. Before we dive into week 18 in the NFL, where, by the way, is there a more convenient betting podcast than this? That we just give you all of our, we recap the week before, so you keep us honest. Then we're able to tell you all the picks we have for the next week in 30 minutes or less for free. We are like AutoZone, where you get what you want when you want. If you're a Today person, and you want to get what you need ASAP, then you order online, pick it up fast with their free same-day store pickup. If you're cool being a tomorrow person, or you just don't feel like going to the store, you can order what you need on AutoZone.com with free next day delivery. You can even order as late as 10 p.m. and your package will arrive the next day right on time. So the next time you're starting a job, start it by shopping your way at AutoZone.com. They've got over 6,000 stores nationwide. Every car is different, and that means every car job is too. Same day pickup, next day delivery, both free. Get in the zone.
AutoZone. Don't get stranded in Aurora, Illinois.
I love that you do that every week. All right, let's roll into week 18. Now, I forget, Steve, from prior years. Is this a big stay away week for you or a big opportunity week in your mind?
It's a big opportunity, and it's all about volatility again as information flows in and out in terms of teams that are going to play their starters, maybe play their starters for a half. We can take advantage, and sometimes we can take advantage by betting first halves because the normal model, you get a 7-point favorite. Well, we'll make that team -4 first half. That might not work this week if a team's only going to play their starters for 30 minutes.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, that is right. That is how you usually feel about it every year. The problem with that is, what does that do for our listeners here on this show, Steve?
Well, you teach a man how to fish, and it's still really hard to catch the fish. So hopefully we'll just try to give them winners. You're right.
Good. All right. Let's start Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the Chiefs are on the road in Denver. They're laying 10. Totals 44.5. Chiefs still have a chance at the number 1 seed if the Titans were to lose to the Texans.
I got to tell you, this line certainly looks inflated. I'll lean right now to Denver. This line was 3 last week. The look-ahead line was 3, and the feeling was, well, maybe Kansas City will have nothing to play for. I'm not sure they have very much to play for right now. Yeah, they could get the number 1 seed if by some miracle the Tennessee Titans lose to the Houston Texans. That's a nebulous motivation for Kansas City. I got to lean Denver.
I would just lean Denver as well. Probably a lean to the over. I think there'll be more points scored in that one than 44.5. So you and I are together on that one with the lean. What about Saturday night? The Cowboys are in Philly. Cowboys right now laying 7.
So obviously 7 is way too high a number for an Eagles team that's playing very well. I got to evaluate who's going to be in, who's going to be out for the Eagles. I don't want to get hit with the situation where I get the spare Eagles and I get a bad effort out of them. But if things go according to form and the Eagles actually play their starters or most of them, I'll be on the Eagles in this game.
I don't know what they're going to do. They did place 12 guys on the COVID list yesterday on Monday. Those guys would be eligible to play on Saturday. But that might slide and push the Eagles in the direction to not play some of those guys like Dallas Goedert, Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, if they also miss the entire week of practice. I will lean to the Eagles getting the 7 points because their backup quarterback's Gardner Minshew. And he's still good. And he's going to want to go out there and prove a point. So I'm going to lean to the Eagles. The Cowboys say they're playing everybody, and they're playing Saturday night, so they won't have anything decided before they play. They still have a slim chance at the 2 seed. They say they're going for it. I'm inclined at this point to believe them. Colts are in Jacksonville where they're laying 15 points, Steve. 15.
Well, I'm not going to bet Jacksonville, but I'll lean to them. The look-ahead line was 8.5, Ross, and now it's been inflated an additional 7 points, not because of anything the Colts did last week. They looked bad. Jaguars looked atrocious, but Urban Meyer's out of there. The team should be putting in one last gasp effort to play somewhat hard. Lean to the god-awful Jacksonville Jaguars.
I will lean Jaguars as well, but they are a mess. I thought they'd play much better after Urban Meyer and that situation was over. They haven't at all. It's just a lean for me. And I would say in general, not going to have a ton of plays here today because this is how I get graded. I get graded based on what I give you guys out on Tuesdays, and it's just tough. What about the Steelers off their Big Ben final home game Monday night at the Ravens? Steelers are getting 5.5.
Frankly, this line surprises me. It's coming way higher than I expected. I mean, I get it that Pittsburgh isn't very good and they just had their home run game and won, but they haven't been eliminated yet. And Baltimore, Baltimore has completely gone into the tank. Strong lean Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to put 2 units on the Steelers. They have a chance to go to the playoffs, and Ben Roethlisberger, he still wants to win his last game, still wants to go out a winner, and it feels like the Ravens and Steelers always play close games. So 2 units, Steelers, catching the 5.5. The total's 42.5. Now, this line is interesting to me, this next one. It's the Titans at the Texans. The Titans, Steve, are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're laying 10.5. The 49ers might not make the playoffs in the NFC. They were laying 13 last week at this time to the Texans. What is going on with how Vegas feels about the Titans?
The Titans, and I understand that, again, they got their wide receivers back, but if you look at just the pure analytics and the numbers, let me pull up the Titans here. Yards per play. The Titans are averaging 5.1. They're giving up 5.3. So their opponents are outgaining them per play, and those offensive numbers are even worse without Derrick Henry. Now, I know Henry's supposed to come back for the playoffs, but right now the Titans are barely an above-average team. I get it. They beat 5 straight really good teams. They had a very nice run, but the analytics guys that evaluate them, they're just not that good. And yeah, in the cold Tennessee rain, they beat a team from South Beach. Big deal. I'll pass this game.
I'm going to pass it as well. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm sorry. I like Houston. I think Houston 10.5. That's enough for me. I think the Titans win the game, but I like the Texans to hang in there. I like the way they've been playing as of late, and I think they're going to give it one more good effort. I'm only going to go 1 unit on that one. 1 unit on the Texans getting 10.5. What about the battle for Ohio? How about this? Baker Mayfield's having surgery. He's not playing. It doesn't appear to have had much of an impact on the betting line where the Bengals are laying 3 points. The total is 42.5.
I have to tell you, this might well be an upgrade for the Cleveland Browns. Now, Cleveland's at home. They had nothing to play for other than pride last week. And same thing this week. Since he just came off one of the biggest wins they've had in 5 years, since he doesn't need the game other than to move up in some playoff standings, I think Cleveland wins. I'll take Cleveland +3, 2 units with the backup quarterback that's better than the starter right now.
I'm with you on that. Totally agree. I'm surprised a little bit by the line. Not only that, Burrow hurt his knee. So I think that there's some chance that they don't even play Joe Burrow in this game. And I think Case Keenum wants to make a point as well. Totally with you. Cleveland +3, 2 units. It is a best bet.
The best bet.
Here's another game I like. The football team at the New York Giants. So we got the football team at the Giants, and the football team is laying 6.5. The total is 38.5.
I'm not betting on the Giants. I'll lean Giants at 6.5 or 7. They've been so inept offensively. Glennon, I think he had a QBR of 0.0, I heard. Or maybe it was a quarterback rating. Really doesn't matter. He's bad. Lean Giants.
Going the other way. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with Washington. The Giants are horrific. Washington is decent. They'll come out. they'll play decent because that's what they are. They'll get Gibson back. The Giants look like they want their coach to be fired. I don't blame them. I am all over Washington minus 6.5, 2 units. Now we've got the Bears and the Vikings. The Bears are getting 2.5. Vikings laying 2.5, Steve.
I don't know the status of Kirk Cousins. Do you have an update on him, Ross?
No, I mean, obviously, he'll be well within his 5 days to come back and play.
I will continue with my politically incorrect rant that I don't understand how a professional football player, it's perfectly fine to have 320-pound linemen fall on top of you and crush you with long-lasting injuries, but a vaccine, it's too much risk for me to take. Can't get involved with that. I pass this game.
I got to pass. I thought about teasing the Bears up to 8.5, but I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. They say maybe Justin Fields. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know right now the starting quarterback for either team. Not placing a wager on the game. How about the Packers and the Lions? Packers are laying 2.5. Lions getting 2.5. You know, obviously the markets don't really believe Aaron Rodgers is going to play, even though he says he wants to.
I think this is one that we wait. And if Aaron Rodgers starts, we bet the Packers to score first quarter, first half. And we bet the Lions in the second half because if Rodgers plays, I don't think he's going to be there the whole game. So that's how I'll attack this game.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, too much uncertainty on this one on a Tuesday afternoon to place a bet here. I could only, at this point, look to maybe tease the Lions up to 8.5. I don't even know. I just there's too much unknown. What about the Jets getting 16.5 in Buffalo, Steve?
All right. I'm not going to make this an official play, but I'm going to recommend a bet that people are going to be upset by. I actually think the money line on the Bills, risking $12 to win $1, is a good investment. Now, how can minus 1,200 be a good investment? Well, let me turn it around. Ross, if you right now said, you know what, Fez? I'm going to let you bet 1,000 to win 14,000 on the money line on the New York Jets. Do you want that? I would be cussing you out. I'd be like, no, there's no chance the Jets are winning this game, meaning less than a 5% chance the Jets win this game. And if that's the case, value is value. The minus 1,200 is cheap for a Bills team that will win this game.
Wow, very interesting. I'm going to take the Jets getting that many points. Jets were frisky on Sunday. Jets have played better as of late. 16.5 points. That's a lot. You know, and once the Bills have the game won, they might call off the dogs a little bit. They might not go pedal to the metal. They just need to win the game. They don't need to win it by a certain amount of points. 2 units on the New York Jets getting 16.5 points. How about the Patriots and the Dolphins? Patriots right now are laying 7, Steve. The total is 40.
What is going on here? So the New England Patriots are playing a team that was the hottest team in the NFL, Miami Dolphins, and they got stung by the elements. Tua looked bad in the cold rain of 42 degrees in Tennessee, but that team's been playing the best football in the NFL of anyone the last 2 months. And now they're home where they always play the Patriots tough. The power rating between these two teams is only 5 points apart. And Miami's home. There's no reason to believe Miami isn't going to bring it to try to give Flores a winning record. I get it. I do hear Flores not that happy with Tua. So that's the only negative I would have about investing in Miami. But he wants to finish with a winning record. They're going to play to win. It's way too many points. 3 units. Best bet, Miami Dolphins.
Wow. 3 units. I've got 2 on it. I do think Flores really wants to win, finish the season with a win for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, he comes from New England. He wants a winning record. I think they'll bounce back from a really bad performance. And the Patriots already clinched the playoffs. So I don't know that you'll see their best, especially once they realize the Bills are up a lot. So I like the Dolphins getting the points as well. 2 units, though, for me on Miami +7. Best bet.
The best bet.
Niners are getting 4 in LA against the Rams. Total 44. Niners need it to go to the playoffs. Rams need it to win the division.
Niners always win this game. Shanahan always outcoaches McVay. Because of that, I'll lean Niners, but we're not getting that many points, just a lean.
Yeah, it would only be a lean for me as well. Overcoming the odds, rewriting the playbook, delivering under pressure. The MVPs of small business lead their teams to victory all year long. Visa is proud to provide playmakers everywhere with more tools to help grow their business and help them achieve even greater success. Because the more people we can empower, the more we all win. Visa, a network working for everyone. Carolina, Tampa. Carolina's getting 8. The total's 41.5, Steve.
So this line is telling you that Tampa is not going to play their starters for the entire game, despite what Arian says. And this is another game. If you bet Tampa, I think you got to invest in them first half only. Carolina, look towards second half.
Yep, I agree. They say we're going to win. They say we're playing the starters. But if they get a 2-score lead or 3-score lead, they might pull back a little bit. Agree with you on the first half stuff. I'd probably lean Tampa laying the 8, but that's it. Seahawks and the Cardinals. Cardinals are laying 7, total 48.
I just don't have a good feel for this one at all. Impressive win by Arizona. I don't know if they're going to ball all game for this one. And because of that, I'm going to stay on the sidelines.
Yeah, they needed that. They needed that badly. That was impressive. They want this one as well to win the division. I think they'll play well again, but I'm not going to lay 7. It is a pass for me. Saints are laying 4.5 in Atlanta. Saints win, Niners lose. Saints are going to the playoffs, Steve. The total is 40.
Yeah, and I heard a stat. I guess the Saints are 8-3 when they have Winston or Hill at quarterback, and 0-5 with the clowns, other named Simeon and Ian Book. So they've been a much better team. I like under in this game. I think the Saints are playing ultra conservative, letting the defense win the game, and the Falcons don't score in the red zone. I'm going to look under 40 for 2 units.
Ooh, okay. Under 42 units. I would probably just lean to Atlanta here at home, getting those points. And I think Arthur Smith and Matt Ryan will have those guys ready to play. Chargers, Raiders, win, and you are in. The Raiders are getting 3 points at home here, Steve. Total 49.5.
Yes, this is interesting. Both teams have played a full NFL schedule, 16 games. They both have the same record. All right, the Chargers are a little bit better. But you know what? The Raiders win this game. You know what our conclusion will be? We're going to say, well, the Raiders are the better team. So how often does the better team catch 3 in their own crib? That shouldn't happen. That's what's happening here. We got to take the 3. Raiders, 2 units.
I'm with you. Yep. And they've won a lot of close games recently. They've played better recently. And I guess I have more faith in Derek Carr in a clutch moment right now than I do in Justin Herbert and the Chargers, for whatever that's worth. Give me the Raiders as well, getting 3 points for a 2-unit best bet.
The best bet.
Man, I didn't think I had that many bets, Steve, but then when we went through it again, I kind of got frisky on some of these. I like a lot of the dogs. So we shall see what happens. It'll be a fun week. Remember, we're always here in the playoffs. We're year-round. This show is year-round. The offseason gets fun when we talk about other sports a little bit, and also always entertain new concepts, new ideas, new questions from you guys, the listeners or the viewers in the offseason. Yes, Steve?
We would be remiss. We're an NFL show, but there is I don't know if you noticed, there's a title game on Monday, and I did want to pass on. I certainly lean to Alabama. I might bet Alabama catching the 3.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Nick Saban and Alabama getting points with a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Say it out loud. Although I kind of think Georgia ends up winning that game. Good luck if you guys bet that game or any of these games. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for listening to the Even Money Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, The Fantasy Feast, Business of Sports, and The College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.
A lot of times on the show, I mentioned DraftKings. Here's what you need to know. You got to be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. By the way, if what I was talking about included a deposit bonus, doesn't always, sometimes it does. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough, and deposit bonuses are paid out in site credit.